Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's start out with a little warm-up, just some two voice. Get our fingers moving. And we'll start with defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. Does the training technique which you have learned and the experience that you have had indicate the methods and the ways to control nervousness in people you are questioning? We try to put them at ease. Just what was it in the defendant's attitude that led you to question her further in relation to the possible criminal involvement which you described? I don't recall anything in her attitude, sir. Her physical behavior tipped me off. I think that she was possibly or probably hiding something. She became nervous? Yes. Visibly so? Yes, sir. Isn't that when you started talking to her about scuba diving? No, I think we talked about scuba diving prior to that. I'm not sure, but I think we did. Would that be another type of technique in the investigation? To put someone at ease? Yes, that is a technique, and you are skilled at it, are you not? I try to be. Your thought changed during that first visit somehow or other? That's true. Suspicion at that time focused on Miss Pierce in your mind? It didn't change to Miss Pierce. For the time being, it shifted to her. It didn't eliminate Rodney, in my opinion, but it brought another person into the investigation. You didn't know about that other person before you went out there, did you? No, I didn't. You had had no time to check on that other person, had you? I was informed, based on the report, that it was Rodney. When you went back to the office, was not the purpose of returning to your office to investigate Miss Pierce immediately? Yes. All right, and now for some voice practice. And we will start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. If you had to estimate, how close would you say? 4 to 5 feet. Was the store clerk issued a citation? Yes, she was. Was it before or after she was identified? I don't recall. Okay, I'll just show you one photograph which was previously marked as Exhibit 2A. If you could take a look at 2A, right? And let me know if you recognize the individuals shown in that picture. Yes. Who are those individuals? That is the minor Decoy, Mike Collins, and Ms. Ramirez. And Ms. Ramirez is the individual who sold the beer to the minor, correct? Thank you. I have no further questions. Cross. Did you testify you worked for the Department of Motor Vehicles? Yes, I do. But you were on this decoy operation. No, I was working for the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control when I was doing this operation. Oh, you've since transferred? I've transferred since. Prior to June 5th of 2004, last year, had you been working with this decoy, Mike Collins, when he was a decoy on operation? On previous operations? Correct. And how many approximately had you worked on him with? I don't recall. Could you give an estimate? I would say 3 or 4 operations. Okay, and did you personally select him for this decoy operation? No. Do you know who did? I don't recall. Do you know if this decoy was wearing a wire or any type of recording device? What was the question? Do you know if the decoy was wearing a wire or any type of recording device when he entered the 7-Eleven? He was not. I have no more questions, Your Honor. Any redirect? No. Okay, thank you very much. You may step down. Thank you. And I'll call my next witness, Mr. Collins. Please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. All right, please be seated and state your full name for the record and spell it for us. Michael Collins, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. I'm sorry, could you please repeat that? Michael, last name Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S. Thank you, go ahead. Good morning, Mr. Collins. Good morning. What is your date of birth? May 3rd, 1989. And I want you to just focus your attention on June 5th, 2004. On that date, were you working as a decoy for the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control? Yes. And did you go to a 7-Eleven store, which is located at 901 South Main Avenue in Burbank, California? Yes. How old were you on that date? 19 years old. I'd like for you to take a look at a picture that has previously been marked as Exhibit 3A. There's actually 2 photographs on one sheet, 3A and 3B. If you could look at those 2 pictures, and if you could let me know if you recognize the individual shown in that photograph. Yes, I do. Who's shown in that photograph? That's me. When was that photograph taken? The day of the operation. Where were you at the time? At the ABC parking lot. Is that the way you looked on the date of that decoy operation? Yes, I did. Now today, are you wearing a similar shirt? Yes, I am. And what about the pants? Are those pretty similar to what you're wearing today? Yes, they are. Your shoes, are they different? Yes, they're different. Can you just describe for the record what it is you're wearing today? A white t-shirt, the same pants, and just black shoes. Okay, during the decoy operation, were you working with anyone else? Can you restate that? Were you working with any investigators? Yes, I was. Yes. Who were you accompanied by? Susan Weston and investigator Ramirez. After you arrived at that 7-Eleven store, did you go inside? Yes, I did. Did anyone else from your team go inside? Susan Weston did. Who went in first, you or Ms. Weston? Ms. Weston. How long did you wait before you went in after her? Approximately 5 to 10 seconds. And once you were inside the store, where did you go? I went straight to the beer cooler. Did you select anything? Yes, I did. What did you remove? A 6-pack of Budweiser beer in bottles. After you selected that beer, where did you then go? I stood in line at the cash register. Were there other customers ahead of you? Yes. How many? About 2. Was there a clerk at the counter where you were standing? Yes, there was. And was that a male or female clerk? It was a female. Did you place the beer on the counter? Yes, I did. Did the store clerk ask for any ID? No. Did she ask your date of birth? No. She asked you how old you were? No. Any questions at all regarding your age? No. Were you able to pay for the beer? Yes, I was. How much did you give the clerk? A $20 bill. Did you receive any change? Yes, I did. Did you purchase anything besides the beer? No, I did not. Did you talk to the clerk? No, I didn't. After you paid for the beer, what did you then do? I received the change and immediately walked outside to Investigator Rios. Was the beer placed in a bag? Yes, ma'am. When you walked outside, what happened outside the store? I contacted Investigator Rios, gave him the change and the beer, and we then proceeded to go inside of the liquor store. Who did you walk inside the store with? Investigator Rios. Who else went inside? I believe it was only him. Did Investigator Weston go back inside the store? Yes, she did. And for what purpose did you return to the store? To do a field ID. How long were you outside before you returned, if you remember? Approximately 30 seconds to a minute. After you were inside the store the second time, did any one of the investigators ask you who sold you the beer? Yes. And what was your response? She did, pointing to the cashier that sold me the beer. You were referring to the store clerk who sold you the beer, you're saying? Yes. Were you facing the store clerk when you said she did and you pointed to her? Yes. Was she facing you? Yes. Did you make eye contact with her? Yes. How close were you standing to her at that point? Approximately 3 feet. Was there a photograph that was taken inside of the store? Yes, there was. I'd like for you to look at what's been marked as Exhibit 2A. If you could take a look at that and tell me if you recognize the individuals in that photograph. Yes, I do. Who's shown there? Myself and the store clerk that sold me the alcohol. And what is that you're holding in your hand? It's a 6-pack of Budweiser that I purchased. Okay, when this photograph was taken, how tall were you? Approximately 5'6". And how tall would you say you are today? 5'6". Do you recall how much you weighed at that time? 150 pounds. And do you know how much you weigh today? 152 pounds. Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you. Okay, cross-examination, Mr. Wilson. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Collins. Morning. How many decoy operations did you participate in prior to June 4th of last year? Objection lacks foundation. All right, I'm going to sustain as asked. Fair enough. Did you participate in any decoy operations prior to June 4th of last year? Yes. Can you give an estimate of how many? 2 dozen, approximately 24. Approximately 24. Okay, this was prior to June 4th, 2004 that you mentioned? Yes. Okay, thank you. Can you give an estimate as to when you did your first decoy operation? Summer of 2003. Okay, and how did you first become involved to be a decoy? Through the Dana Point Police Department. And what was your connection with the Dana Point Police Department? I worked in a similar field. Okay, were you a cadet with them? No, I wasn't. Were you an explorer with them? No, I wasn't. What was your similar field that you worked with them in? A cadet at Santa Ana College Police Department. And when did you first become a cadet at Santa Ana Police Department? March of 2003. March of 2003. I was 16. So about a few months before you did your first decoy operation? Correct, yes. And did the Santa Ana Police Department recommend you to the Dana Point Police Department? Yes, they did. And at what time? Did you have any type of ranking within the cadet program? No, I didn't. Did you ever obtain a ranking? No, I did not. No. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.